Shalom, shalom. This is Barbara, and I'm serving as your host today. We want to welcome everyone to the Sabbath Day conference call. Today, the title is 3 Types of Days in Scripture, and those are listed in Ezekiel 46:1. Working days, Sabbaths, and new moon days. Please consider the following. When workdays, new moon days, and Sabbath days appear in the same passage, is it ever possible for these days to concurrently occupy the same 24-hour period of time? Or do these days fall into 3 separate categories: workdays, new moon days, and Sabbaths? Well, workdays are not like new moon days or Sabbaths. Maybe you're already keeping Sabbaths. Maybe you're keeping new moon days. But they're not the same as a workday. The 8 or so passages in Scripture that mention feast days, new moon days, and Sabbaths all together in the same text are listing them comparatively as they are similar in nature. They are all appointed times. However, the passages below that mention the different types of days contrast the working days as being very different from worship days. Work days are not equal to the new moon or Sabbath days, and they're not similar in nature. Ezekiel 46:1 says, "Thus saith the Sovereign YHVH, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days. But on the Sabbath it shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened." Also, verse 3 says, "Likewise the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate before Jehovah in the Sabbaths and in the new moon days." Well, what happens if new moon falls on a Wednesday on man's calendar? Is the gate open or shut? There is no right answer. The solution is that the new moon never falls on a work day because it is not a work day. It is a 3rd category of day. The gate is closed on all 6 work days. This passage in Ezekiel is the only one in Scripture that mentions all 3 types of days in the same passage, the same verse. But the following passages are very clearly implying that work days are separate from new moon days and Sabbaths. So they will give us some examples. Here is the story of the Shunammite woman. You remember this story in 2 Kings 4:23. In context of the passage, it was during a work day that the Shunammite woman's husband asked, "Wherefore wilt thou go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath." 2 Kings 4:23. Well, if you remember the story, the little boy was out working in the field with his father, and he took sick, and the mother was called, and the little boy died in her lap, and she was going to see the prophet. And her husband said, "Well, why are you going to see the prophet?" He wasn't aware that the little boy had died, and he's asking, "Why are you going? It's not a worship day. It's not Sabbath, and it's not new moon." He was out working in his field. Amos 8:5 shows another time. "When will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances of deceit?" Well, these wicked retailers were seeking to set out their goods on the appropriate days, the 6 working days. They were not allowed to do it on new moon days or Sabbaths. On the 6 work days, the gates are closed, as we just read, and the gates are open on the 7th-day Sabbath, and the gates are open on new moon day. So here is a calendar up here showing the Creator's calendar, an example of it. As new moon day, the gates would be open. All the Sabbaths are the 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th. The gates are open on Sabbath. And then this shows the example of the gates are closed the 6 working days. The 6 working days open on a Sabbath. 6 working days closed, open on Sabbath. So worship days are new moon days, and they are Sabbaths. The new moon is not a weekly Sabbath, though. New moon day is a non-commerce day. Work days are commerce days. A work day is not a worship day. The Sabbath and new moons are worship days. So do the math. You will discover that there are 3 separate categories of days in Jehovah's calendar. 1, new moon days. 2, work days. 3, Sabbaths. And since Scripture indicates that these days cannot take place at the same time, do not overlap or share the same space, then we need to rework our understanding of the calendar, the Father's calendar. New moon days can never be a 7th-day Sabbath because they are always the first day of the month. New moon days are not part of the week cycle or a 7th day. So our future work days also will be observed as separate from worship days. Worship days are not work days. Okay, so, and again it says in Isaiah 66:23, it shall happen that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me. We'll be worshiping new moon days and Sabbaths, not weekdays. Clearly, the Roman Gregorian calendar has not been ordained by Jehovah. And no true doctrine will lose anything by close examination. So I encourage you to keep studying this out and learning more about the Creator's calendar. So to access more information about the calendar, new moon days, and Sabbath, please go to our website, lunarsabbathday.com. So thank you for being here, and I hope you'll be back next time.